Good morning, everybody. My name is Rich Wolcher. I'm the Marketing VP for Gates and Controls, and I'm very happy this morning that we have Nick Storms, one of the owners of US Automatic out of Texas. Is that right, Nick? I mean,
Not an owner.
You're close enough. You're close enough. By blood, you're an owner, my friend. Anyway, he's going to be walking us through the latest on US Automatic. US Automatic is a company that we rely on in all of our branches for many of the operators that our dealers, purchase and install. It is one of the products that we rely on, and they're very reliable products. They offer some benefits and features that other companies don't offer. And one of the real strengths of this company is that it's a family-owned company, and they're very, very close to the market. They're very close to their own products. They develop their own. One of the beauties of those products are that they're made in the United States, right? And for those of us who are concerned about what is happening on a worldwide basis and holding particularly manufacturing jobs into the United States, buying US Automatic is a support of that perspective. In any case, I'm going to pass this on to Nick Storms, who's talking to us from where in Texas, Nick?
We're in Lewisville, Texas. That is north of Dallas.
North of Dallas by what? 20 minutes?
About 20 minutes. Yep.
20 minutes. Okay, great. And so take it away, Nick. Give us the Holy Grail.
Yep. So my name is Nick Storms. I've been with US Automatic for about 10 years. And basically, I oversee customer relations. So that goes for tech support, in-house sales, and I'm the West Coast salesman. So today I'm kind of giving you a little bit of an overview of our products, kind of keeping it short and sweet. And I will start the presentation now. So why choose US Automatic? We've been making very efficient battery powered DC operators for over 25 years. We've really kind of stuck with that market, and that's where, as of right now, that's where we're staying. All of our systems are 12 volt. So that's one of the main advantages of how we design our equipment. A lot of our operators, it's pretty standard to get 10 plus years out of it. The main reason why that is we really focus on the internal components, and we actually make our circuit boards in-house. So that gives us a pretty good advantage on allowing it to be reliable. All of our boards can be repaired minus some special circumstances, but that's another advantage about our company. We do offer AC operators. A lot of people know us from solar, but the advantage of our operators is we can convert to either AC or solar in a matter of seconds. You can install this as solar, a couple months down the road, run 110 down to the gate. All we have to do is unplug the solar panel, plug in transformer. It's not changing a circuit board. It's not doing anything. So matter of seconds, we can convert it. Overall, the design of all of our products is by installers and for installers. We want it to be easy. We want it to be easy to install. We want it to be easy to upgrade if anything down the road happens. And we want it to be easy to service. So if we're keeping up with the normal maintenance every 2 years, 1 to 2 years, load testing that battery, keeping the hinges on the gate good, greasing the actuator seal, we're gonna last 10 plus years minus Mother Nature related issues. We are in residential and light commercial, so we can definitely do some cycles. But when we're going solar, we have to compensate for how much current draw, things along those lines, which we can easily assist if there's those questions. Our tech support is, we like to say, definitely industry leading. All of our tech support goes through hands-on training, and it allows them to really relate to the customer when they're on that phone, especially when they're out there in the hot sun and the cold weather, because a lot of our techs have done stuff outside. And so that really helps relate with the customer, and having any kind of complaints is very rare with our company. We have a great selection of operators. It's going to fit for most applications, and all of our operators have a 3 or more year warranty. So we definitely stand by our product.
Well, one of the questions I'd have, Nick, is on the battery backed up machines, when you lose AC power, no, excuse me, when the batteries die, does the machine keep running?
No, it does not, because the system is running off the battery, and that is specifically by design, because we didn't want a battery backup. We wanted a true backup. So, but to give you an idea, with US Automatic Accessories, our systems are on standby, are running about 10 milliamps. So in a 24-hour span, we're talking 240 milliamps.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a good 60 to 90 days of operation. Odds are power is going to be back on before that time. But that's the focus on what we really wanted. We didn't want to have smaller batteries. We wanted a 35 amp hour battery that's going to be a true backup. And I don't think we're getting away from that. That's been very good for us.
Got it.
So this is our flagship model. This is our Patriot. A lot of people have been installing this guy for over 25 years. It's rated for 16-foot, 800-pound gates. Gate gets in maximum length. We want it at 20. So if the weight's getting longer, you know, our length getting longer, weight needs to go down. It's a very heavy duty 24-inch actuator. It's all stainless steel. The Patriot systems have a 5-year warranty on the circuit board and a 3-year warranty on all other components. Each kit is included with a photo eye, and typically we're going to get about 11 to 12 seconds opening or closing. So it's very fast, it's very efficient, and it's very strong.
What photo eye do you use?
We use our US Automatic photo eye.
Oh, it's manufactured by you?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Yep, and that's included in every kit. So this is the Patriot Red board. This got released in about mid 2020. Some of the advantages that we have on this board over previous is we have the pulse width modulation that allows us to do the soft start and stop. We have 2 inputs for contact edges. We do have the DB9 app ready plug, which allows us to install our Wi-Fi module directly into the board without doing splicing or anything like that. And another advantage is we have the low battery audible notification and LED. What that means is if that battery voltage drops down, it's going to notify. As long as you have the external siren plugged into the board, it's going to beep at you when that voltage drops. That hopefully generates a phone call to the dealer that, hey, my gate is beeping at me, and allows you to know what you need before you even have to go look at the gate. Another advantage on this board is we have the battery fail. So let's say they didn't plug in that siren or they ignored it. We have a switch on our circuit board, which is on the DS1, that red brick with the 10 switches. It allows us to, when that gate goes into failure mode, it's going to lock it open or lock it closed. So that's another advantage that we have. And kind of elaborate on that pulse width modulation, that the soft start and the soft stop. We have a row of 4 switches, which you're not seeing on this circuit board. This was kind of a filler, but you'll on our official board, we have a red brick with 4 switches. The top 3 switches allows us to really fine tune how fast we want that to start up and slow down. So it's not just a one set speed like we had in our previous circuit boards. Yeah, so this red brick right here, that 5th switch determines if it's going to lock open or lock closed if they ignore all the battery monitoring. Another thing on this board, around this area is where the DB9 port is for the app. And then, like I said, this is kind of an older picture. And then we also have resettable fuses on the boards now. So the automotive, you're not out of luck if you lose your automotive fuses.
Good enough.
All right. It's our Patriot RSL. We've had this around just a few years later than the Patriot. The main advantage for many years is we were able to use the same circuit board for both our swing and our slide. And that was really helpful for a lot of the installers so that they wouldn't have to carry multiple boards. We think about those things. We know that it's expensive when you start tallying up all these extra parts on your truck. And so that's one of the main things that we really keep in mind. We try to keep it universal. But this RSL is great for gates up to 800 pounds, 32 feet of travel. It can be pad or post mount. The post mount 4-inch post. Same as the warranty is the same as the Patriot swing. It's the 5 and 3. We have a manual release knob. It will be seen if we slide this disc over, which this disc, you can have it padlocked here, but if we slide that disc over, you will see that there's a circular disc with a knob. We pull that. Now we can manually disengage the gate, roll it back and forth. We have this operator does have a brake inside its motor, so it disables any kind of back driving. And it does have a heavy duty ABS molded cover. So each kit for an RSL is going to come with 2 sets of photo eyes. So with the swing operators, everything on our line is going to come with 1 photo eye. And for the slides, it's going to come with 2 photo eyes. This is the Patriot RSL yellow board. So you'll notice it's a different color. This circuit board is going to, in order for it to operate, it will require 2 photo eyes or the contact edge in order for it to run. So that's why we weren't able to have 2 boards for both swing and slide. So after 2016, we had to make those adjustments. We on both the swing and the slide, we have open and closed directions so that we can separate those for the monitored entrapment. It's still the same, really. The layout is still the same. It's allowing us to have that proven reliability. All of our operators do have a type D input. I put that on here to kind of elaborate on that. What that is it's a test button. It allows us, as long as we're pressing and holding this button, it allows us to, that type D right here, if you kind of see. What it does is, and on our Patriot, it's up towards the top of the board. But what that allows us to do is, let's say we are having a problem with one of our monitored devices. This allows us to run the gate, because as long as we're pressing and holding it, it's going to operate the gate. And if it's operating the gate, then you know it's a monitored device issue. If it's not operating, you could have another issue. It could be battery related. Most of the time it's battery related. But it allows you to have another tool besides these LED indicators that you're seeing on these boards. Some of the main advantages of these LED indicators, kind of going in with the troubleshooting and service, is we have LEDs to allow us to know if we're on an extend or retract limit, if we're having a fault on one of our accessories. So it allows troubleshooting to be very quick and efficient. All these LEDs are coordinating with our J2 plug, which is where all of our accessories are wired into the board. We did make a removable J2 plug so that if we had to swap boards, we didn't have to pull out wires. We can slap that board in, pop in the J2 plug, on our way. But you'll notice each one of these LED lights, they will come on when we press and hold the LED indicator. The reason why we didn't want those lights on all the time is everything in our focus is to save power, especially for solar systems. Now, if there's something special, reach out to us. Don't be afraid to ask. If we don't know the answer right there, we will get back to you and we will find a way to try to make something happen. We also know on all of our boards, we also have security shunts. That allows us to do our mag locks, solenoid locks, and any kind of the security shunt we use for a lot of different applications. We've used them for lights, sirens, all kinds of things. So that's kind of leading into if it doesn't cover it in the manual, reach out to our support. We'll see what we can do to help accomplish what you're wanting. This is our Ranger 500. We've had this one around for roughly about 12 to 15 years. It's a great application. It comes in all one box. The only thing that it doesn't have is the battery for the system, which is recommended for this cabinet, is a 35 amp hour battery. This actuator, it looks small, but it's very stout. It's all metal as well, internal and external. And what that allows us to do is get up to 13-foot, 400-pound gates. It's got a 16-inch stroke, so shorter than the Patriot line. But the big difference is on this one is all of our limits are done on the circuit board. So with the Patriot, we're using mechanical limits. With the Ranger series, not just the 500, we're using a potentiometer. This operator also has the pulse width modulation, so it allows us to do the soft start and soft stop. And it also has the battery monitoring system. So it allows us to find out if that battery is starting to get weak or having issues charging. This operator has a 3-year warranty, and like all the other swings, it does come with the photo eye with the kit. This is our Ranger HD. This is our newest operator in the lineup. We've had it around for about 3 years now, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this operator. So for many years, we had installers kind of give us input that they wanted this and they wanted that with the Patriot. Well, you can't change up the Patriot because it's proven. We didn't want to change design. When something works, don't go fix it. So what we did is we met in the middle and we made this operator. So as you can see, it's a more modern look. And that's one of the things that a lot of people wanted. They wanted more of a modern look, but they didn't want to have the look sacrifice the reliability. So you'll notice that the specs are very similar to a Patriot. It's going to operate 16-foot, 800-pound gates. It's 24-inch stroke actuator. It's all on the outside. It's all aluminum with the stainless steel Acme screw, which actually it's not an Acme screw. It's a ball screw. We can go into that if we need to. It does have the pulse width modulation. It does have the battery monitoring system, and it has the same speed as the Patriot, which is a 11 to 12 second opening or closing. This operator has a 3-year warranty, just like the Ranger 500. Now, the advantage of the Ranger series, we have, and we'll go into the board on the next slide, but the Ranger series uses the same board. The only difference between the boards, which talking about it, I can just pull over here real quick. This board is the same circuit board that's going to go for the Ranger 500 or the HD. The advantage of that is we were able to keep that concept that we were talking about earlier, trying to limit how much things need to be on the truck. And the only difference between switching back for those boards is if it's a Ranger 500, so the smaller actuator, this switch is going to be on, this fourth switch right here. And if it's an HD, it's going to be off. So that's really the only difference. We can use the same board. But just like the Ranger 500, we're using all the limit adjustments are done on the circuit board. That allows us not to have to get on the ground or flip the actuator upside down like the Patriot line and do those limit adjustments. Now, there's a lot of guys that love those mechanical limits because they are true, they work, and they're proven. Now, the one downfall that you'll hear about a mechanical limit actuator is if you pull the pin, disconnect it from the gate, and allow that actuator to run, that silver rod, the Acme screw will just keep spinning. And that's what offsets those limits in that limit assembly. So that was one of the things that we could eliminate from the Ranger line because we're using a potentiometer. So if we pulled the pin on this actuator, this silver rod is just going to go in and out because of that ball screw. Basically, the ball screw, to make it more simple, it's a block with a bearing, and so that screw is going through a ball bearing, and it's making it roughly about 80% more efficient than your standard Acme screw. So this machine is extremely tough, extremely efficient, and it's been a very good seller over on the West Coast, East Coast, and in between. It's a lot of people it's hard to get some of those veteran Patriot guys that have been doing them for 25 years and there's no other operator they want to switch to. But if you give this operator a go, I think a lot of people will enjoy it. It makes it very easy to install. And another advantage on that is the plastic. We have 2 cabinet options. So we have the metal lockable cabinet like we have in the Patriot. And then we have the plastic cabinet. The advantage with all the plastic cabinets is we fully assemble them in-house. So the circuit board's already mounted, siren's already mounted, receiver, charger, all that is mounted. All we have to do is hook up our battery, hook up our photo eyes, and we're on our way.
So talk a little bit about supply chain in the day of COVID here. How has business been interrupted at US Automatic as a consequence of supply chain issues, given the fact that this is all manufactured in the United States?
So it was really good up until the last about last 4 months. We've had some back orders, but it was really good. We were able to get stuff out. Typically, when the world is normal, we get orders out within 24 hours. But in the last 4 months, we've seen a little bit of a harder time, and that's just getting in raw materials and getting all that in. So, I mean, our standard lead time is right now, it's kind of flexing. It's getting better, but we're still under the 2-month mark for the most part on getting out the Patriot line, anything from the Patriot line. But most of that is just the high demand for it. It's not that it's just getting enough materials to. There was a lot of people trying our products during that time, and they're continuing to use them. I think they saw the advantages of being an American-made company, but just like every manufacturer, U.S. made or not, it's been a battle, and so we really appreciate the patience from Gates and Controls, especially because there has been some back orders with there, but just know that we're working real hard to try to get everything back to 24 hours. It's just been a little bit more difficult than the rest of the time over this last 4 months.
So Nick, for those companies, for those dealers who have not really had much or any experience with US Automatic, I think it's helpful for them to know how successful you are in certain parts of the United States, where you're ubiquitous, you're probably everywhere, and everybody kind of is used to seeing your products. Where are those locations?
The main heavy hitter is going to be down here, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, all the way moving over to the southeast coast. Florida is a big one, and we're seeing a really good increase in California and Oregon and Washington. So those are kind of our main areas, and with the help of Gates and Controls, they really helped with that West Coast scenario. So it's growing, and I'm really excited to be a part of this company during this time.
So given the fact that you have had most of your success in the South, how do these operators operate in a much colder environment?
Pretty good. We have no complaints. I mean, the components and everything else, because to give it a little bit of an idea, the actuators are made by Thompson, which they are up in Illinois. So a lot of these actuators are getting tested in some pretty brutal environments. Snow, rain, cold. I mean, they're testing it outdoors. They're doing all these things. So going into very cold temperatures, we're not going to have an issue. We definitely think about the grease in the gearboxes, that if it's going into a cold environment, it's going to still run. Where we see where we see a little bit of an issue is when we get into like the -20s, and usually most of that is revolving around a battery kind of getting too cold. I have some guys that I talk to up in Wyoming and up in multiple parts of Montana where it gets really cold up there, and kind of how every person has their own way of combating it. But we've seen if that battery can hold in those, if they're using quality batteries that can hold in those colder environments, it's going to keep working. But these things aren't snow plows. So if there's 4 feet of snow on the ground, it's, you gotta move the snow out of the way of the gate path. But for the most part, that's not been an issue over the history of our company. That's been pointed out that we're having issues up in those kind of environments.
Good to know. Thanks.
Yep. So kind of moving into the Ranger board, you'll notice some similarities from our Patriot to the Ranger series. We do have the LED indicators, as you're seeing down here. How we engage those LEDs is right here. Now you'll notice there's not a text box. We can only put so much room on it. You'll notice that all these, the inputs are going to coordinate with the either you can look in the manual or on the plastic cabinets, we actually have a sticker on the back side of the cabinet. When you flip it down, you'll notice that it has all those inputs. So it allows you to know what you're working on in case you forget. But we try to keep the same inputs across all of our boards. So if you learn one really well, you can most likely pick up another and know that, number 8 is our closing direction for our monitored photo eyes, or number 4 is our open. So we keep it pretty cut and paste across all of our operators to make it where if you, like I said, if you learn one, you can kind of move on and move into the other products that we have in our lineup. You'll notice also that we have the DB9 port. This right here is what we connect our US Automatic Next Wi-Fi module to. So you'll see up here in the top, we have our, so they're independent for gate 1 and gate 2 sensitivity. So that allows us to how much force it's going to be for when the gate hits an object, that it's going to current sense and come back. You'll notice that we have an auto close dial here. That allows us, it's, when it's turned all the way to the left, the auto close timer is the least amount of time. When it's turned all the way to the right, most amount of time. We can disable or enable that auto close at any time. So auto close is not mandatory with every system, and that goes for all of our operators. Switch number 1 is how we toggle that if we want to use it or if we don't. Up here at the top, you'll notice that, here, this red brick with the 10 switches is just like on the Patriot. It's on this board, it's called the SW1 instead of the DS1. And really all that is your control switches. That's going to allow you to disable or enable gate 1, solenoid locks, mag locks, certain monitored entrapment, etc. Or if it's a push to open, we can flip a switch that now tells the board logic that it's a push to open, not a pull to open. And kind of elaborate on that. All of our systems can be a pull or push to open with the existing hardware that comes with the kit. So there's
back to monitored sensors for a second. What sensors have you tested your equipment with?
When it comes to photo eye, I'll have to get you the full list of what it is to date. The list that I have is a little outdated, so I will need to get back to you on the approved equipment today. But Contact Edge, we've done a lot of testing with EMX and Miller for the most part. Okay. So those I can tell you are approved. But with our Contact Edge, just to kind of also give another idea, we are using 8.2 or 10K contact edges. And for our photo eyes, we are only using normally closed non-10K. So if it doesn't have a removable 10K resistor, if we're using monitored entrapment, it's probably not going to work. Another thing you'll notice on all of our boards, and I was waiting until this slide to kind of get to it. You'll notice that every single one of our boards that you've seen has 2 ports. We don't have a single or a dual board. All of our boards can be a single or dual. The advantage of that limit is just going right back to what we were talking about. Just what we were talking about earlier is we're really trying to limit how much inventory they have to have on the truck. And so that right there is another advantage of why a lot of people have liked using our circuit boards because of this. Here's our low current receiver. This comes standard with all of our kits. We use a 433.92 megahertz operating frequency. They are capable of storing up to 42 unique transmitter codes. So to kind of explain that a little bit more mainstream, we can, in our remotes, we have a row of dip switches that we can change and have something unique of what we want. If we program one remote and we have infinity amount of other remotes and we match the dip switches from any new remotes to the one already stored, we have an infinite amount. But let's say that we need, 42 different unique codes. That's going to be the maximum with this receiver. Haven't had anybody call and say we need more, but if there's anybody out there that's not voicing that, we want to hear it. So 42 is the max as of right now. Since the beginning of us making our receiver, we've always had a momentary, which is what you'll see over here on P1. and a latch open or open only P2. So all of our receivers have the ability to do a latch open or momentary. It is very low current. It's 1 milliamp. So that's what we call solar friendly. And this version of the receiver is 12 volt VDC. Primarily, we see these used with only our systems.
Gotcha. Nick, Edward's got a question.
Yes, sir.
Unmute yourself, Edward. Unmute yourself, buddy.
Nick, does that latch open only exist on relay 2, or is that on both?
On this receiver, yes. On the
Okay.
low current, the LCR is what we call it. The P2, the P2 is only for latch open or open only.
P2 latch open, perfect. Yeah, great receiver, great range, very useful and very low draw. I love it. And linking up with your keypads, you guys gave us one of your new wireless keypads, and we have it as a demo. And I looked at the battery. The battery is kind of a unique size that's in there, and boy, I'm in love with it. It's a great keypad. It's lasted. Everybody pokes a button on it. It illuminates at night. It's fantastic. Really nice.
Thank you.
Thanks, Edward.
So this is the 1224 universal receiver. This one is kind of what you're talking about. You have that option to do latch on P1 or P2. But now, same frequency, but the big difference here is we have it's 12 or 24 AC DC power. And this is what receiver most of the people are using. If they're using our accessories and this is what they want to use, they're using this receiver on other brand operators. The reason for it, on P1 and P2, we have a relay common. So that allows us to be pretty universal for the most part. I can't vouch that it'll work on all operators because I am not going to sit here and say I know every operator, but it's going to work. It's pretty universal. That's what I can tell you. Now you'll notice that it has a little bit higher current draw than our LCR. It's got a 15 milliamp current, which still most people are going to say that's pretty good, but we would never typically recommend this one for a solar system. It can be done, in areas that they get plenty of sun, sure. But if we're up in a rainy, dark kind of climate, we want to save as much as we can, and that's where the LCR comes in. But this one, kind of just elaborating on what Edward asked, it does have that function to be P1 and P2 both have the ability to be momentary or latch functions.
What do you mean by it's used primarily on other brand systems? It sounds like people are not using it for your system.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a lot of guys that really like our accessory, love our range on all of our accessories. So they use this receiver to put on brand X.
But what you're saying, that doesn't mean that it's not being used by many people who are installing your operators.
It's not typically used on ours just because the LCR is included with every kit. So they already have the receiver. And if they're doing a replacement, they typically get the LCR, the same one.
Got it.
What we did, we've had this basic receiver around for a long time, primarily for the customers that really love our accessories and they want to use it on all the operators they work on. But like I said, it could be used on our operators, but it's just not as common.
There.
There's our remotes, our little 2-button transmitters. You'll notice I don't have a picture here, but if you look down here in the bottom left, this is going to rotate out, and that's where the battery compartment is. And then also the row of dip switches. That's that dip switches that I was talking about earlier. We're just going to set something unique to you. We program left button, typically left button to P1, right button to P2. The reason button 1 and button 2 have they have independent frequencies. They're slightly different. It allows us to not interfere with each other. And kind of elaborating earlier, once we program one remote, if all the other remotes are going to have the same dip switch settings, we program one remote, we match the dip switches on all the others, they will start working instantly. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. And I will add, it's a give or take. We have seen our remotes. Our typical average of distance is about 300 feet, but that could go down with all kinds of variables there. Power lines, trees, brick walls. I mean, things can variable, but typically we see about 300 feet range. That's our 4-button transmitter. We offered this one for multiple gates on the property, or we've seen in the past, we used to sell a garage door receiver. We would see a lot of those paired with those. The 4-button, very similar. Overall, same design as the 2-button, but the big difference is button 1, 2, 3, and 4 have independent frequencies. So we can, if we have 4 different gates, we could have 1 button for each gate. If we only have 2 gates, we could have 1 as a momentary, 1 as a lock open, and same with the other set of gates. So it just allows you to have more variety if needed. This is our push to operate transmitter. So to kind of sum it up here, we see a lot of these they are an outdoor installation. We see a lot of these being put on 4-wheelers, side-by-sides. I've even seen them underneath the cabinet. Basically, the easiest way to put is when we put the palm of our hand on that device, it's going to act just like a remote. So the reason why I'm pointing out the side-by-side 4-wheelers, we had a lot of guys that over time were complaining about going through utility managers and things like that for homeowners associations and all that. They're on their side-by-side or something like that, going to work multiple places, and they'll lose their remote. So they're installing these on their side-by-sides, 4-wheelers. We've seen people get pretty creative, but this is unique code. So each one is going to operate different. This is our US Automatic Basic wireless keypad. This is our plastic keypad. These are the kind of the budget friendly keypad if the premium that Edward was talking about isn't needed. It's going to have up to 24 different access codes, 2 to 5 digit access codes. So if we don't want to, basically to sum it up there, if the code is less than 5 digits, we use the pound as the 5th digit. So it could be 2 pound if you wanted to. It does have the ability to program for relay 1 or relay 2. So we can have it do a momentary program to P1 or have a latch open program to P2. So we can have 2 different codes if we needed to accomplish that. Now, getting into the premium metal keypad, this is the one that Edward has on his display. This one has been very welcomed with open arms since the release of it. It's a rugged die-cast locking aluminum cover. It's compatible with all of our US Automatic receivers, long battery life, and backlit keys. The battery that comes with the kit is a CR123A battery. One battery gives us roughly about 18 months of operation. And it does have a second port where we can put another CR123A battery, and it's going to double that life. It does have up to 256 access codes and 256 temporary access codes. And those access codes can be programmed to 1 to 9 uses. Another advantage is we have the low light LED face illumination. So you'll notice over here, there's a very, very dim LED light, and we can turn that off, that function on or off. What that allows is, let's say we're in a very dark environment, we're going to have a nice low light illumination on that keypad to let you know it's there. Pulling trailers out at night or anything like that, it could be very helpful to see that it's there on that gooseneck mount. The other advantage is if we flip this over, you'll notice that the pattern is going to fit almost any universal gooseneck mount. So you don't have to make your own custom pad or anything like that. And that's why a lot of people have really loved this keypad. You'll notice also that it's got a lock and key, and inside this housing is a sealed battery compartment that has a rubber gasket, and it has 4 screws and all, or it has a screw in all 4 corners. And that's where we can change a battery. But let's say that we already have low voltage wire going to the gooseneck and we're replacing a existing keypad. We can also hardwire for power. Now at this time, we do not have a relay output, but it allows us to power the keypad if we don't want to use the batteries. So if for whatever reason they need to, or they have the need to hardwire it instead of using the batteries, we have the ability to do so.
Well, this is a new product, Nick, right?
Yes, yeah.
When was it introduced?
Say it again.
When was it introduced?
Roughly about 8 months ago, maybe even longer.
Cool.
Yeah. Here's our 7-day timer. Pretty similar to all the other brands that are out there, but why we had to make our own 7-day timer. We needed to kind of, the whole focus on our operators is if it needs to be solar, we want it to be solar friendly. So we had to actually go out and make our own 7-day timer. And the advantage there is we were able to get it down to 1 milliamp. Now, this does not have a relay output, so it's not guaranteed that it's going to work on other brand operators, but doing so is what allowed us to get the current draw down. It does have 17 programmable events per day. It's 12-volt DC, and we can program to open gate at present time. The program is a program where the application has to roll into. So if you set it for today, it's not going to immediately start working. It has to roll into that time. I like to add that because a lot of people will call us and say, hey, it's not triggering. We do have the ability to do our testing though. If you'll notice down here, we got the auto on and off. So at any time, let's just say that we're going out of town for a little bit, we can go down there, we can press that button and we can turn it off for the meantime. And it is 24-hour format, so it's making it pretty universal. Any questions? Cool. Here's our photo eyes. These are what comes in every kit. So we have 2 options when it comes to far side of the driveway. We have the battery, which are included with every kit, and those are 3.6 volt lithium batteries, not AA's. They come with every kit, so we have the ability to use the batteries, or if we're doing a dual system, you'll notice on our 40-foot cable, we have 2 extra wires. We can use that for a contact edge, or we can use that to hardwire the photo eyes, so we never have to worry about the battery. But I can tell you that the batteries are lasting. We're telling everybody about 18 months, but we're seeing it even more in some areas. So about the time that you're changing the battery in the system, doing your yearly or every 2-year service, about that time that you're load testing the battery and probably swapping out that battery. If we swap out the batteries on the photo eye, you'll never have a problem. We use infrared through beam. That gives us better reliability in a lot of different environments than the reflector style. We do have a 42-foot range. The mounting and hardware are included, and the hardwire is all inside the transmitting unit. So if we want to do the hardwire, now the photo eye that is closest to the control box, that does have to be hardwired. So for 20 strand or 20 gauge 4-strand wire is all we need for those. I mean, you can use any other wire, but that's minimum requirement. Any questions there?
Nope.
Cool. Let's talk about our battery controller. This is really what's keeping the operation alive. We introduced this charger a few years back. We got rid of our old one and went into this one. You'll notice that now we have an LCD screen instead of LED lights. This allows us to use active battery voltage. And so we can actually see what the current voltage is on the battery and how much current is coming in from either the solar panel or the DC adapter. It allows for solar panels up to 130 watts. We haven't seen that be maxed out yet, but for whatever reason, if we need to do something like that, we have the ability to do it. It also, you'll notice up here in the top left that we have a USB power port. We see people using them for all kinds of different things. We do have the plug and go flying lead connections. So that is with our harness that goes with every system. It's a plug and play, and it allows it where we're not having to unscrew things and stick wires in, screw it back down. It just makes it where it's very easy and quick and efficient. You'll also, go ahead.
Pardon my ignorance, but the USB power port, give me an idea of how that's used. I'm not clear.
I figured that was coming. So we've seen people use it for plugging in a wireless hotspot for Verizon or AT&T or anything along those lines. We've seen people use it for charging their phone, and if you're up in a very cold environment and that battery in your phone, if you're on the phone, just while you're even if you're not on the phone with us, we see people using it for charging their phones, things like that. But it's used for all different. We added that there to open up possibilities for the future. That's what that was added for. You'll notice that we have a barrel plug adapter over here. That's where we plug in our transformers and our solar panels. But let's say that we don't have a US automatic solar panel that has that barrel plug. Well, we got you covered. You'll notice over here, we have a hardwire input. That allows us to use any other brand, or if we needed to, we do have a Y connector for our solar panels. And basically it's a female to female into male, and we can plug that into here. But let's say you don't have that and you want to hook two solar panels. We can cut the barrel plug off our solar panel, hardwire it into the bottom left over here, and call it a day. We see this charger being used on a lot of different appliances, but this does come with every kit. And as you're seeing over here, this 10-watt solar panel right here, and then our transformer, the 10-watt comes with any solar system, and the 20-watt can be an add-on, which a lot of the Gates controls, they do have some of these. So if they're needed, we have them. I added this slide just to kind of give you an idea of what it's looking like. Right there, you'll see that we have that battery voltage.
Yep.
And kind of show you, we have the barrel plug plugged in here. And to give you that idea of how that's manually plugged in. That's from the quick connector.
And where is this mounted?
This is mounted inside the control box.
Okay. On the wall or on the chat? I presume it's on the chassis, right?
Yeah, it's right there on the Ranger series here. On the Ranger series, it's mounted roughly around right here with the Patriot metal cabinets. They're up in kind of the top left area. Okay. But yeah, every cabinet has a spot for all of our accessories. So it makes it where wires aren't dangling everywhere. It makes it nice and clean. So let's talk about the next gate. This has been pretty exciting to release. We've had it around for about 3 years. It's Wi-Fi and Bluetooth controlled. Now we get this question a lot about the Bluetooth. Why you would use Bluetooth? Well, there's a lot of locations that they're eventually going to have the Wi-Fi ran down to the gate from their internet provider. But in the meantime, they still want something that they can open and close from their phone, so they're not having to carry around a remote. If we set up the device inside, you'll notice on every module, there's a micro USB port. So we can take this module inside the house, plug it into the wall, and set up the features on the Wi-Fi. Later, take it down to the gate, plug it in. And from there, as long as you're within 15, 30 feet of the gate, we can operate it with just our phone. So we don't have to have multiple remotes. Now, we have seen pretty high increase of people doing that. And typically what we see is kind of the scenario that I threw in. They haven't got with their internet provider yet to get internet down at gate location. And so they're waiting on that. The other application is if they got multiple gates on the property and they don't want to carry around a 4-button transmitter, they can add this module to every operator and operate it with their phone, because odds are you're going to carry your phone around everywhere. So that's why we added that function in there. It does have a 7. Go ahead.
Just so that you're clear, our dealers are being constantly asked for, how do we open up our gate with this? Now it's that is definitely the future, and it's certainly the present, and for many gate operator manufacturers, it's kind of a mandatory thing at this point. But I'm a little bit just to define a little bit, because there's probably some confusion in the marketplace. You've got US automatic Nextgate on that module there. So Nextgate, if I were to look at online, look up Nextgate or Nex and the XX online, I wouldn't see Nextgate, for instance, and I'd see an independent product. Tell us a little bit about where this thing fits and what Nex is.
Yep. So Nex is a company out of Texas. They're actually right down the road from us. We partnered with them to get a device that is proprietary for our systems. And so that's how Nextgate was born. They originally started making garage door applications, and that these garage door modules can go on a very, very wide variety of garage openers, which they do have a link on which ones they'll work with. And so we started doing a little bit of testing with that. And then we really started doubling down, and we really got with a Nextgate, which is, you'll notice if you go on their website, they don't even have that listed. That's because it is proprietary for US automatic systems. And so that's where it is. It's really nice to have somebody that's local. So we're able to get together often and talk often and really move forward. So it's been a really good experience, and a lot of our customers are loving it, because we did a lot of testing on it before releasing it to the market. And it was one of the, I like to say it's kind of the KISS deal. We keep it simple, and if it's simple, it's going to make it more reliable. But with keeping it simple, we were able to add a lot of those features that a lot of people needed. Some of those is like the 7-day log gate activity, notifications when it's opened or closed, no hidden monthly fees for the basic outline of it. I mean, once you buy this module, you own it. You are going to be able to open and close your gate with your phone. You don't gotta have that, $1 a month fee or anything like that. It does work with Alexa, Google Assistant, smart things. So we've heard some funny stories. We won't get into that on what people are naming their gates and et cetera, but you can get creative. We want to hear them. We want to hear some of those creative ideas, but the other thing is the easy to share. We can disable and enable a user in a matter of seconds. And I'll show you some of those slideshows of what the app looks like here very shortly. But the advantage there is we can give access to that landscaping company. We can do things like that, and we can also do 7-day timers applications with this. So really it's a really cool feature to have. I use it for my own personal. I use the garage, I use the gate, I use the Next plug, which is, it goes right into your outlet, and I can turn on devices. What I use it for, I'm a boater down here in Texas, so I have it where 3 times a day, charger kind of kicks on, tops it off, turns back off, and so I have it on a timer doing that. I have another plug that I use for a kind of a floodlight that kind of comes on for my back porch. So, I mean, you can use these for all different appliances, and it's really cool. And that's one of the main reasons.
We just lost you, Nick. And Edward has got a question.
Yeah.
Nick, so this is a Wi-Fi unit. So depending on how good my Wi-Fi is, it'll talk to it out at the gate post, right?
Say that one more time.
This is Wi-Fi driven, right? So I need to be able to connect to my Wi-Fi up at the house in order to get all this good information out of it, right?
Yes. To get the full information, you need to have a strong Wi-Fi down at gate location.
Okay,
If
that's
you
all
don't
site
have-
dependent.
Yeah,
How many users can I put on here? It's username and password. I suppose you download the app, username and password. How many people can it hold?
so up to 11 users.
Okay, perfect. You said this next gate can operate my front gate outlets. How many devices can I add to it?
There's not a limit. To kind of give you an idea, you could add all kinds of devices on it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Last question on this product is about 80% of the gates that we do with your product are solar. How does this behave with the solar application?
Well, I can tell you that the device pulls about 45 milliamps standby. So
That's not terrible. That's realistic.
yep. So really we really want to, we've seen people use 10 watts. It's not really what we recommend for the standard. We recommend at least 20 watts of solar, whether you add a second 10-watt solar panel or go with just the 20 watt for a clean
Yeah.
load.
No,
We do
all our
recommend-
applications, we don't even suggest 10-watt solars, and that with that information, I don't really buy your solar package because even here in sunny California, we find that 10 watts is just not enough.
Gotcha.
So we buy the other package without the solar panel that comes with the charger. And if they say we're doing solar, say, well, you get a charger in this and we're going to give you a 30-watt solar panel. And we go forward that way. But you said about 45 milliamps is the draw on it once it's plugged in.
Yep.
Okay,
And so
that's great.
That's really just adding that 45 to the 240 standby current draw for the whole day. So
Okay.
if that gate's not running, the total current draw for the whole day is going to be around 240 milliamps. Add the 40, but the standby, I don't know if you caught that earlier, but the standby current draw of our standard system is 10 milliamps. So for the most part, that's why that 10 watt really works really well.
And this is only compatible with your newer yellow boards?
This is compatible with the old Ranger boards, the green boards, it's not compatible with, but any of the red Patriot, red Ranger, and soon to be the yellow slide, it is compatible. Now, for the older systems, as long as they've installed their safety device, because we always recommend the safety device to be installed in order to have this, then you could hardwire it if needed on an older system. But we always recommend all of our customers to upgrade to the current UL standard and have those proper safety devices.
Okay, so we sell a bunch of your 5000016 Patriot boards here.
Yep.
I am wholly responsible for creating an army of Frankensteins in this side of the world because we have customers that have Apollos, and I like your board so much more.
Yep.
It is compatible with that. So if I were to have a customer that has an old Apollo unit, they come in, they say, Edward, I need a new Apollo board. I say, well, why don't you use Nick Storm's fantastic US automatic board, and I can get you a Nextgate.
Yep.
That plug into it. Will they be happy, or am I overstepping my boundaries here?
No, you could. And you'll notice even on the 5016 circuit boards, we have those monitored device inputs. So if they're using that, then yeah, you can use it. All you'll need to do on that is you'll have to cut the DB9 cable, and you'll have to splice it into, you'll have to hardwire it into the board, and you'll have to splice it into a limit. But yes, there is the ability to work, but the upgrading them to a red board or with the DB9 port is going to be easier, but it can be done for what you're asking.
Okay, so the 5000016 board that I sell does not have the DB9 port on it. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so if I were to have somebody come to me and say, Edward, I have an old Apollo system out there and I need a new board for it, and I would love to say, well, let's make that thing better. Let's use the Nextgate app on it. What board would I be selling them?
Swing or Swinggate?
All we have The hills are alive with Apollo 816s and Patriot arms out there. And if I want to bring them into the new generation, what board am I selling them?
Red Patriot board, significantly better
Well,
upgrade.
well, I do believe that the 50006 is the US automatic Red Patriot board, but I don't think it's got the DB9 connector on it.
The 5016 is the green board, and it does not have the DB9. Now the 5018 is the red. So here, I'll go back.
5,000. Thank you for clarifying. Okay, possibly I got my colors. I got my colors backwards.
Yep.
Okay, so no, go back to that red one. Oh,
Yeah, that's what here. Actually, I will go grab one. I have one on my desk that I will grab so you can see the most current, and we can actually go through it. Here, give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
perfect. Sorry for missing some of the seminar there, Richard. Busy over here. We're down one person, and I've had a busy morning. And I got one guy out on delivery. Makes 2 guys at the desk. It's been fun.
Day before Thanksgiving, not an issue.
Right. Well, we expected it would be a little bit slower today, but I should know better after doing this for so many years. Everybody's cranking to try to get stuff done, and trying to pick up products so they can continue working over the weekend. So it's been a little crazy.
Preparing their turkeys for barbecue.
That's right. That's right. Do you have some plans for the weekend?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm preparing my turkey for barbecue.
Very nice. Very nice.
We're hosting a big family get together tomorrow. So yeah, I got my big Yoder smoker, and actually.
Oh wow, very good.
Starting that up first.
All right.
Having
Really nice.
About 1 o'clock in the afternoon. How about yourself?
Basic. I got some crazy relatives coming over. We're hosting, so that's always a good time. Yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary, but looking forward to a little downtime.
Cool. Here we go.
This is the board that you'll recognize.
I think you'll need to stop sharing your screen for that to
Oh,
happen.
that's right. Yeah, here.
We see each other, but we're not seeing. There you go.
Here we go. So this is the
Okay.
board you recognize.
Yes, no DB9 connector.
Correct.
Okay, yes, that's the 5016.
Yep. So you'll notice down here, we have a pre-2016 jumper, allows us for testing purposes and things along those lines. You'll notice that the big difference of why, if they're putting on monitor devices at this point, the red board is a much better application because we have the battery fail monitoring. We have the pulse width modulation that allows us to do the slow start and slow stop. And it allows us to do the DB9 port to add that Wi-Fi module, because this is what the red board is now.
Okay,
You'll notice right here that DB9 port.
I see.
So if we're updating the system to the current standard, the red board 5018 is where you want to be all day long, because what we did is we took all the old technology and made it new, and it's been very, very good. It's preventing a lot of those little tedious tech calls over the years that we've had.
Okay. That's great. Thank you for letting me know that. Any other complications with adding a 5018 into a board? Is it still just the two? Is it the bypass jumper, or am I looking at something more difficult to get customers up from a 1990 gate install to a current board?
It does not have a jumper. That board, in order for it to work, is going to look for a monitored photo eye going in the opening or closed direction, or an 8.25K through or 10K contact edge.
Okay, so your board is reading 8.25K, and then that it sees that, and then that's my monitored input.
Yep, or 10K.
Okay, so it's a variable. It's a
Yep.
not nominal resistance there.
Yeah. So in order for the red guy to work, it's got to have a monitor device.
Okay.
In order for the green one to work, if we have the jumper in for testing purposes, it'll run.
Okay.
Make sense?
Love it.
Yeah. The red board is what we're seeing a lot more people starting to use. Once they realize some of the advantages, I mean, kind of going into that Edward, you've dealt with Patriots for many years, so you've known some of the complaints of when a weak battery happens with the soft stop. because the old technology on the green boards, you'll notice here on the soft stop, how that works on the old technology is it's a timed delay. So when that limit nut hits the limit switch, the voltage drops and it slows down.
Yes.
Well, there's multiple factors that come into play that can be a disadvantage. Wind, the wind kicks up one day, it might not open as far or close as far because there's resistance. If the battery starts getting weaker, it could cause that to not go as far. And so that's where we really address that problem with the red Patriot board, because now it knows that the limit, it has to go from limit A to limit B.
Mhm.
And so once you allow it to go to limit A, limit B, at that point, it knows it's got to make it here. So it's not that time delay. And then we have the battery monitoring system that's allowing us to even better further know if something is going wrong or heading in that direction. So that's where I'm saying that red board's what you want to use. But
Okay.
if the green board is that kind of scenario is where it's at, we could still use that next module on it.
So gentlemen, we're running out of time here. Let's
Yep.
move on. Let's go back to the sharing your screen and get through the NEXX and close this out.
Yep, we are almost done here. So this is just kind of showing the installation. I'll kind of just show you, this is setting up the garage, setting up the plug, setting up our US automatic. And another one that's not added to that feature is the alarm. They just came out with that as well. So that alarm will allow you to tap into your current alarm system. Here's kind of showing the setup. I figured this might be helpful to show you how easy it is. The app is going to walk you through the whole thing. So you'll notice that you're turning, you're checking the status of the next module, turning on Bluetooth, entering in the Wi-Fi, entering in the password. If you do not have a password for your Wi-Fi, don't enter a password, just hit configure device and it'll go on.
And
from there,
the fact that Nex has got it's quite visible on the online. You cannot buy a Nex module online and use it on your gates. Is that right? Or your operators, right? You have to use the proprietary Nex.
Well, yeah. Well, we've seen people use the garage, but I don't see the point of it. We have our own module.
When you say garage, you mean the Nex garage, which is,
yeah, we've seen people put Nex garage on them in the past, but we don't see the point of it. We have our own gate version. Because the disadvantage of you're using the garage is going to say the garage is open, the garage. And if you have a garage, that's going to really confuse you. Because if you have one on your gate and one on your garage, if you're not naming them something different, it's going to confuse you.
But the Nex garage doesn't have all the applications or all the features as yours does, does it not? I mean, the 7.
It's similar. It's similar, but it's not. The disadvantage of the Nex garage is it's 110. So ours is 12 volt.
Got it. Okay.
And only 12 volts. So if you put 24 to it, it will fry it.
Okay.
Yes, Edward.
So Nick, if I were to order the 5018 and I wanted the next app on it, I would be ordering the 030223.
That is correct.
Would I need anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, if you're doing the board, you either are US automatic photo eye or contact edge if you need those, but
Okay.
yeah.
And your photo eye is a reflective photo eye. No, you only sell the through beam, right?
Yep.
It's battery powered on the other side though, right?
Yeah, battery powered or hardwired.
Okay. And what is the model number on that?
550011.
I'm going to send over a PO for a couple of these items. And I sent over a PO. Richard told me that I need to order some stuff from you guys. No, he didn't. He suggested we support US Automatic as always, but I did send over a PO. I didn't want to put you for some US Automatic boards. I learned today that the other guys that make a plug-in board, I'm not going to use any names, that work with your machine, they are back ordered by over 1,000 boards, and we don't expect to see those for some time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no,
So-
boards are solid. Boards are solid.
So I'm going to order up some green 16s, some red 18s, a couple Next apps, and a couple of your fantastic photo eyes moving forward.
Cool.
Get you guys rolling here.
I
Okay,
appreciate
sorry.
it.
Continue on. I know we're running out of time.
I'll call you after here.
Okay.
So this is kind of giving you a little bit of what it looks like when you open the app. So you'll notice that you have plugs, you have gates, you have we got multiple gates on here. And that's kind of giving you, when we have that strong Wi-Fi at the gate location, we're going to get that status of if the gate is open, gate is closed. We also, if you look over on the right or in the middle, that's if if you click on the device, if you tap on it here, that's what gets you open to a big screen. And you could also star the device, so that way when you open the app, it'll automatically go to the big button if you want. Typically, personally, I like it where it's showing all my different devices instead of just one, but it's whatever you want. And then you'll notice that we also have the history here, so we can find out when it was operated, etc. And this is kind of showing you a little bit on the device settings, what it can do. We can enable it, disable it, do the sharing,
Yourself, buddy.
what it works with, check which Wi-Fi it's connected to. We also have a beta feature right here called Just
Edward,
Drive.
could you mute yourself? There's background noise.
Of course.
Thank you.
You'll also notice that we have Just Drive, which is a beta feature, which if we want to know more into that, definitely let me know. Here's our notifications. So we can turn them on or turn them off if we want to be notified if a gate is being triggered. And then from there, you'll see that we have Just Drive turned on for this situation. Basically, to sum up Just Drive is we set the device location. And then from there, we pick the radius that we want it, how big of the radius we want it to be. When we drive into that location, then it will trigger the gate and open it where you're not even having to pull out a remote or anything out of a remote or your phone. It'll automatically trigger. It is still in testing, but for the most part, everybody's really liking it. But if there's any kind of issues with it, we want to know about it because it is still in a beta feature.
And what's the working title of that?
Just Drive.
Just Drive. So this is kind of like an exit device, but it's Bluetooth.
More of it. No, not an exit, entering device. You have to be entering the radius, not exiting.
But it's Bluetooth.
It's working with your phone. It's working with your phone location. So it'll actually, once you enter that geo-fenced radius, it will trigger it to open the gate. And you could have it open your gate, turn on your floodlights, open your garage. You could have it disable your alarm. You could have it do all that as you're entering. But it's not an exit device. If you're inside the radius and you're leaving, it's not going to trigger because you got to go, you have to be outside radius coming into radius. Here is just showing when you're adding a new user. You're sharing a new user, you enter the user's full name, their email address, confirming, and then here we're allowed to choose what we want that person to see. So somebody that's a guest probably don't want to allow them to allow timers, allow open close, allow scheduling. This right here, allow history view, landscaping company, probably don't want them to see what time you're going and leaving. The other thing I like to tell everybody right here, see this only Bluetooth activation allow? I tell most people turn that on for the users that are not living at the home or does not need to have access to open or close that gate anywhere in the world. The advantage of that is they have to be within that 15, 30-foot radius of that gate in order for them to operate it from their phone. So That's the recommendation that I turn on there. And you'll also notice allow access only between these days. We see this being used for hunting leases, all kinds of things. Rent VRBO or Airbnbs, we see that being used often too.
So again, this is a Bluetooth / Wi-Fi device.
That is correct.
You could open or close your gate as long as you're connected to Wi-Fi from anywhere in the world.
Yep. Yeah.
Not
And
gonna be
then,
charged a subscription for that service.
nope, no subscription. Once you buy the module, it's yours. And final, we got just showing you what it can work with, like the Alexa, the Google Assistant, smart things. That's how we enable those. We can schedule the event if we want to do 7-day, kind of 7-day timer like aspects. And we have what's showing you over here is just the schedule on, what time. It's a one-time use for this one, but that allows us to do that.
Great. Edward, I'm going to ask you a question. You've been around and working with and supporting U.S. Automatic products for many years now. Give us a high point of why is it that you support that product line?
Well, they're extremely durable. That's number one. First and foremost, I have people that pull out U.S. automatic arms that are probably built circa 1979. And they say, can I rebuild this or should I get a new one? And I say, well, you have both options for it. I say, if you get a new one, it's probably going to last you another 50 years. I said, if you rebuild it, it's probably going to last you another 30 years. So with that, they're just extremely durable. They last a long time. They're elementary in design, and we love that. We love that they're regular limit switches. We love that they last so long, and then they're very easy to work on. This whole industry has gotten so crazy with its technology and its advancements. I love that U.S. Automatic is still keeping some of the roots, the basics, the things that we've come to know and love. I'm in a certain generation of installers. A couple of guys at my front desk, they are a couple of years younger than me, and of course I work with guys that have been doing this for years older than me, and we can all relate to this product. We have an issue when we bring in new stuff, and it really cuts off a certain generation of people, and they say, it's too technical for me. I need something with classic limit switches. I need something with some hardwired stuff. I don't want to deal with encoders, and I don't want to deal with Hall effect sensors. I don't want to deal with all these things that add to problems. That's number one. Number two, this stuff is Texas born. People love USA stuff. I think that holds its weight. And our region, all our surrounding mountains, our hills are just filled with, as I mentioned, a variety of these classic gate operators. So I missed a portion of the original segment on this webinar, but I really got what I needed because we have so many people that say, I love this machine, I want to keep it going. I love now that I can say, well, let's keep the basic, hard limit machine, a trustworthy arm. I'm going to get you a board, and you're going to have the app control that everybody's, desiring, because the whole world exists in our, front right pocket, left pocket, front left pocket, and so that makes it really nice that you've kind of passed the threshold between tried and true, and this is now what I'm looking for. So that's wonderful.
One more question, Edward. That was a great answer. When there are problems with the U.S. Automatic product, how accessible, how would you grade their technical support and access to their technical support?
This is a good one for you, Mr. Nick Storms. I talked with Mike Quattlebaum till about 7 o'clock my time, California time. So it must have been 9 something Texas time. I was supporting a customer in Hawaii, and it was 5 o'clock his time. So, and Mike absolutely wouldn't quit until we got the problem solved. And we did this, we did that, we did all this stuff. And guess what it was?
What?
Third-party photo eyes.
Oh,
Your product was impeccable. It was fantastic. But we couldn't figure out what it was. There was some sort of short in the photo eyes. Only until we dropped the photo eyes completely and kind of bypassed them did we find out that it was that. But it took a little bit of sleuthing. But Mike, give him, make sure he gets a turkey leg at the dinner table. He was absolutely wonderful. Great support. Yes.
So Edward is, for those of you who don't know Edward is our branch manager, technical expert in the Sacramento branch. Thank you so much, Edward. You added a lot to our presentation today. Nick Storms, you've done a phenomenal job. I think you've done a really good job of giving a broad perspective of the products that US Automatic provides and some of the newest stuff that you've got. Thank you so much.
thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to next month where US Automatic is the sweet deals of the month and see what we can do for you.
Yes, sir.
Very nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Happy Thanksgiving, both of you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Go fill up on turkey.
Yeah, buddy. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.